Hello there, welcome to the Inorganic TUTOR'S Institute, where numbers make sense and learning Excel, R, Python, SPSS and Minitab very simple. If you are a beginner or you just want to sharpen your skills, you are in the right place. Let's turn data into clarity one lesson at a time. Before we start learning Excel, we need to have the program itself on our laptops or desktop computers. Okay, so in this video, I'll quickly show you how to get the correct Microsoft Office package on the internet. So normally, beginners are fond of using random websites to get these softwares, and they usually end up with malwares or versions that are outdated. So I'm going to show you how to get the Microsoft Office legally and safely, and also show you the difference between the desktop Excel and the online Excel, and then show other options that are in for students, professionals, and also the free trials. So one thing you should know about Excel is that the package isn't an open source, so it's mostly for sale. Okay, so what's on the internet are all paid for. We have the annual subscription, the monthly subscription, and also a one-time subscription. All right, so you choose the best one for yourself. Google also have a spreadsheet application called a Google Sheet, which works almost like the Excel with some limited functions. So if you do not have access to the software on your computer, you can equally type Google Sheet on Google, you create account or you log in with your Google account, which is the Gmail, and then you have access to the spreadsheet application, which works almost like the Excel we'll be using. So if that one is convenient, you can use the online version to also follow in every tutorials we take in this course. Once you have Excel ready on your computer, we can all move together to our next video where I show you the Excel interface and all the parts you need to know before analyzing data. So we'll quickly open Excel. So I have this because the version of my Microsoft is actually the 2016 plus without the activation code. So you have to close this and then use the Microsoft Office suite with limited options. So this is the normal interface you see anytime you open your Excel. So this pane shows your recent works in Excel, and then the other side is the template. See a lot of templates you can use in working, and you have a blank workbook which we normally use. So the blank workbook contains no special templates but a raw spreadsheet where you can also edit and make it your own. So this is the interface of the Microsoft Excel. Before we can analyze any data, we need to get comfortable with Excel itself. Think of this like learning the layout of a car before driving. Yes, you have to know what every part of the car does before you can professionally drive the car. So in the next few minutes, you will know exactly where everything is and what it does in Excel. So most beginners feel lost when they open Excel. Too many buttons, as you can see, too many tabs, But today, I'm going to make it very simple so that the next time you open Excel, you won't be confused. By the end of this video, you'll be able to recognize the key parts of Excel window, understand ribbons, tabs, and groups. You use the formula bar, the status bar, and sheet tabs. You'll be able to save, open, and navigate workbooks with confidence. Yes, so we're going to take one at a time to recognize the key parts of the Excel window. On the title bar, you have your Excel workbook name. So our name is book 1. This is the default name given to your work. So you can make changes when you are saving. You can rename this to your preferred name. And when you look at the bottom here, the status, just above the status bar, we have the sheet. So you have sheet 1. When you click on the add button, you can add several sheets to your work. So you have sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3, and so on. You can add as many as possible. So sheet 1 is blank, there's no work on it. We are viewing from the 2016, so it almost looks the same regardless 2019, 2020, 2024. Almost see the same thing with added features, maybe giving some slight variance in the year released. The interface on Mac and then Windows is slightly different in the ribbons. Okay, so aside that, those using the Mac and those using Windows have the same interface. The slight difference is the ribbons used in the Mac computers. So when you first open Excel, this is what you see, a grid of rows and columns, but there's a lot more happening. So you have the columns and you have the rows. You just see this as the graphical user interface, but there are a lot of things happening at the back end. So we can zoom in and see what's happening. So we have this column and this row, and then the intersection between a column and a row forms a cell. So when you look at this side too, we have the name box. So any cell you click, you see the name of that cell and its reference to the alphabet and the number. So the intersection between A and 1 forms the cell A1 and so on, A2, B1, B2, and so on. So beginners normally confuse with workbooks and worksheets. So as I talked earlier about having several sheets here, a work on a single sheet here is called a worksheet. But when you have work here also in sheet 2 as well as sheet 3, the combination, or when you add all this, it forms a workbook. So a workbook is a collection of worksheets. Don't confuse yourself. They are normally interchanged, but they have their role to play. So the collection of different sheets forms a book. Yes, our exercise books have a lot of sheets in them. So a single sheet is a worksheet with these lines, the rows and columns. But the moment you have several sheets, it forms a workbook. Most of Excel's tools live in the ribbon, organized into tabs and groups. So we have the File tab where we have the New, Open, the Save As. So for the new, you're able to open a new blank sheet, or you can click and choose a new template. With the Open, when you already have an existing Excel work and you go to the Open, it pops up a window where you can select your work and then you continue. You have the Save button, the Save As, Print, and Share, so on. You need to explore. So we have the Home tab having a lot of groups. We have the clipboard, the font, the alignment, the number, styles, cells, editing. We have the insert tab, having a lot of groups. You have to go through them one at a time and see what all of them mean and how we use them at every point in time. So we have the charts, we have the pivot tables, we have the filters we'll be using often, we have the page layout about how your work is presented, we have the Excel formulas, functions, function library, formula auditing, calculations, we have the data, we have get and transform, sort and filter, data tools, where we see the data validation, remove duplicates, and so on. So normally, you have your data at this point. This way, you'll be having your data here. So rows are denoted by numbers and then columns by alphabet. So we have numbers on the left here up to infinity. It goes on and on and on and on, but it has a limit though. And then the alphabet on top here, it goes on and on and on up to even 3-lettered. So the first cell is a cell A1. When you click on that, we see A1. You can type something there. Let's say hello. So the statements we wrote in the cell A1 shows a cell reference at the side, the name box. So this one will tell you specifically the particular cell you can find hello. So you can imagine having a lot of data points in this sheet and you want to move around to see what's happening at every point. You can use the control key and then you just move up and down and see what it does. So it takes us to the very bottom. So you have 1,048,576 rows. Okay, that's the last one. So we use a control plus the arrow keys to move at every point in our worksheet. Those with the mark will use the CMD key plus the arrow keys. When I typed hello in the cell A1, it appeared here. This bar is the formula bar. So the formula bar shows everything inside the cell. So this cell is empty. That's why here is empty. So when I type something in there, it shows. That's the formula bar. And also when I click on this cell and I start typing in the formula bar, it shows in the cell. Vice versa. So when you type directly into the cell, it shows in the formula bar. And also when you type in the formula bar, it shows in the cell. So we have the status bar here. The status bar right beneath the horizontal scroll bar and where you have your various sheets. The next step is the status bar. So the status bar gives quick info. Whatever you are doing, the status bar gives you quick info about what is happening. For example, it shows the average, the count, and the sum. So let's quickly try and see. So we have 34, 23, 12, 21. The moment I select these items, over here, I'm seeing average 22. Look beneath the horizontal bar. I'm seeing average 22, count 4, sum 90. So this is telling me that the total number of items here is 4, okay, because we have 34, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then its average, the average of these four numbers is 22.5. And when you sum them, it is 90. So you don't necessarily need to select and go and find the sum before you can get to know. The status bar will quickly give you this preview and it's the same calculations after solving. So that's the purpose of the status bar. It gives you very quick info without solving. So the status bar will save you time. It's not always necessary to find the sum of numbers, but the moment you highlight, so you can highlight just these two, and so the status bar will give us the average, the count, and the sum without any sweat. Any calculation we do shows in the formula bar. So let's say we want to calculate the addition of two numbers. So in Excel, every formula starts with, or every function starts with the equal to sign. So equal to, we want to find the sum of 10 and 100. So 10 plus 100. So while we are typing in the cell G2, we started with equals 10 plus 100. Our name box has noticed a sum function here. So the moment we press the enter key, it gives a result as what? 110. And 110 was as a result of the function equals 10 plus 100. So you see the function here, and then the result is being exhibited in the cell G2. Alright, so all these groups play a role anytime you need them. So as time goes on, we'll be using them one after the other, and then you as a student playing around this will help better understanding the software. So you have to always be playing around Excel. You take this, what does this do? Okay, so when I want to do this, okay, like that. So you have to explore, dig very deep into Excel, and you realize how wonderful this software is. So the File tab controls the whole workbook in the sense that you're able to save your work, you're able to print your work, share, publish, open new works, or open a blank sheet. So you can protect your work, manage everything in the file menu, and this makes it the powerhouse of your whole work. Because if you don't have the file menu where you can see your work, then everything you're doing is just waste of time. So this is a file menu having all the functions to secure, save, print, share your work, export, and what have you. Alright, with the names sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3, and sheet 4, and so on, you can actually rename this sheet to your preferred names. So depending on the work you are doing, you can decide to rename sheet 1 as data. You can also rename sheet 2 as, let's say, dashboard. You can rename it, you can delete, you can copy, you can protect sheet. You have all these functions here. You can color it as well. So when you give it a different color, it makes it stand out in your work. So anytime you know that, okay, red is for this, you have a lot of functions you can learn from, and what have you. So in a quick recap, Excel is organized into workbooks, sheets, and cells. The ribbon holds tabs and groups of tools. Formula bar shows what's inside a cell. Status bar gives quick insights. Sheet tabs keep data organized. So mixing up workbook versus worksheets and then forgetting to save regularly can be detrimental. So you have to save your work occasionally when you are doing it. Maybe the 10 minutes you save, and then you don't have to mix up workbook and worksheets. You have to know the clear-cut differences. Okay, so in our next video, we now begin with the analysis with Excel, where we will touch on the functions we normally use, how to handle your data. Okay, so stay tuned for the next video. Thank you.